Despite the loss tonight, the Orlando Magic proved something to me that is exactly what I wanted to see in tonight's game. Paolo Banchero's first game back, they lose by 3, an incredibly close competitive game that easily could have gone either way and proved exactly what I thought to be true about this Magic team. With a healthy Paolo Banchero, they can compete with and beat anybody. I truly believe that. Now, there is obviously the top tier of contender in the Eastern Conference, which is your Cavs and your Celtics. But I think the Orlando Magic are firmly in that second tier of contender with teams like the Knicks, the Bucks, who, yes, they lost to tonight, and maybe a healthy Pacers. A couple other teams could potentially make an argument to kind of scratch and claw for that tier. But the Magic, look, they've held on for dear life and at a pretty impressive level without Paolo and without Franz for the last month as well. But with Paolo back, this team is dangerous, and I think Paolo is going to be the X factor to turn in the offense around enough to make them a serious contender in the East. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 2,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I'm uploading every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. With that being said, without further ado, let's hop right into it and let's talk about the Orlando Magic. So, gotta say, y'all, pretty impressive game tonight despite the loss. Paolo in his first game back, only 27 minutes, is a +6, 34 points on 11 of 21, 5 of 8 from 3. He missed a couple free throws, including a crucial one down the stretch where he had an opportunity. It was 107-105, had an opportunity to tie the game and missed the first free throw with 10 seconds left, which was a tough one. But either way, a really impressive return game and only 27 minutes to put up 34 points, a +6. Giannis, despite his 41-point dominant performance, he was great. Goga Batadze, I'm sorry, you're a good player, but he had a tough time with Giannis tonight, and whoever else was matched up with Giannis as well certainly did as well. But either way, I thought the fact that Paolo was a +6, the fact that Paolo was this effective in such small, 27 minutes isn't nothing, but he's going to be playing 35, 36, maybe even closer to 40 in some games in matchups like this that are close competitive games when he is not under a minutes restriction. It's the type of game that gives you a lot of confidence in the Magic's ability to compete with anybody. A fully healthy Milwaukee Bucks team with Giannis playing awesome and still able to keep the game this close without a full game of Paolo. It's the type of thing you exactly want to see from the Orlando Magic tonight. Another encouraging turn of events was the fact that they were 35% from 3 now. Paulo's 5 of 8 certainly helped contribute to that, but adding another guy who's a good shooter back to the rotation is certainly helpful. Kentavious-Caldwell only played 11 minutes, and he's one of the guys who's counted on to be one of their better shooters as well, although he struggled this year. Really thought Anthony Black was good off the bench as well tonight. 15 points, had a really nice third quarter. He was 18 low -14, which certainly isn't ideal, but I thought offensively he was pretty encouraging compared to what we've seen from him recently. And again, you have to keep in mind, this is a team that does not have Jalen Suggs, does not have Franz Wagner. Those are their next two players. Like, I think it is totally fair and totally reasonable to point out that that's the case, and that with those two guys, with a fully healthy Paolo Banchero, the story of this game very easily could have been different. But the fact that the story of this game was what it was, even in a loss, is super encouraging in the first game back for Paolo Banchero. So I have to say, first things first. Look, I didn't expect this much from Paolo. I really didn't. I thought he was going to be great. I didn't expect 27 minutes, 34 points tonight. And the fact that the shooting was back towards that 35% mark is really encouraging, because for the season, obviously, I talked about this in yesterday's video, but the Magic are the worst three-point shooting team in the league by a significant margin. Last season, they were not amazing, but they were 3+ percentage points better than they are this season. And I think Paolo will help bring that number back up towards a norm. And also, he's a good shooter in his own right. Like, he's not a bad three-point shooter at all. A 35% type three-point shooter in his own right. Very, very solid. A guy who can very clearly be a 30-point-per-game scorer, which is obviously there are not many players in basketball who are as physically capable and as efficient and high level. Well, not even just efficient, just high level scorers as Paolo is. But he does so pretty efficiently. He's an efficient scorer. He's a very good passer for a big. He's a capable rebounder. He does a lot of things really well. The assist to turnover ratio has been really good this year. Just adding a guy like that, who is clearly a superstar caliber player, back into the fold for a team that has managed to hold on without him to the tune of still being a 4 seed in the East is huge. Because the thing that people don't talk about enough with the Magic is the defense. At the end of the day, that is the key for this Magic team. You can complain all you want about the three-point shooting. I feel like a lot of it will positively regress as the season progresses. For example, well, especially once they get Franz back, but especially, even now with just Paolo back, Jalen Suggs, less offensive responsibility on him. His percentages should go up because he should be getting easier looks. Kentavious-Caldwell Pope, same story there. He's always been a 40% three-point shooter, especially these last few years. And while he's not in Denver anymore, you certainly wouldn't expect that to be 31.5%. That should be 36, 37%. Tristan da Silva's a rookie, and I mean, he has a nice stroke. I think he could easily be better than he's been to this point in his rookie season. Anthony Black, like, obviously he's not a great three-point shooter, but you'd like to see better than 26%. John Isaac, same thing, would like to see better than 25%, even if he's not a great shooter. I feel like there's a lot of room for positive improvement for a lot of these guys when it comes to shooting the ball. And that's all you need at the end of the day, is positive improvement for a team that is absolutely incredible defensively, the second best defensive team in basketball. And yet when you look at their offensive rating for the entire season, it's fourth worst in the league. And I talked about this yesterday, but an improvement in shooting should bring them a few extra points a game, should get this offensive rating. Let's say it goes from 108.3 up to the mid 110s, 113, 112, somewhere in there. If it just improves a couple points with improved shooting, positive regression, which should be expected from the way these guys have shot the ball this season, as well as obviously the fact that they're just going to have better looks, and they added another good shooter back in the mold in Paolo. It's clearly going to produce positive regression, and that could boost up their offensive rating to middle of the league pretty easily. And when you are as elite as they are defensively and are able to just be solid offensively, you're going to be incredibly dangerous as a team, because look, this is what makes them elite defensively. At the end of the day, they give up a 36% from three average, which is right around the middle of the league. It's not great. But the thing that they do better than anybody in basketball, and by a large margin, is they allow almost 4 less three-pointers per game attempted than any other team in the league. That is a big, big difference. And I think that's something, they just run teams off the line defensively at such a high level and then help and rotate behind. And Paulo's another athletic wing who can also provide that help defense and opportunities, has the athleticism and physicality to run teams off the line. There is a lot to like about adding him back into the mold, because he's not going to hurt the defense at all, and he's going to add so much to the offense. This team is going to become really dangerous, because some of these minutes that are being taken up by non-shooters and poor shooters should now be filled up by Paolo. It's going to improve the offense and maintain, or even potentially improve, the defense a little bit. And once you add Franz Wagner back into the mix, Jalen Suggs, who should be back soon from his back strain, into the mix, this team could get really, really dangerous really quickly. And so, yes, they don't have the name recognition value of other top teams in the East, like the Celtics, even like the Cavs, the Bucks, the Knicks. But what they do have is, number one, they're tied for the 4th seed in the East right now. So they're right there in terms of potentially getting home court advantage in the first round. But what they do have is the best defense in the East and a legit superstar player in Paolo Banchero, who gets overlooked league-wide a bit, but is really, this season, in the games he's played before he went out, and then tonight as well, has just clearly established himself as a guy who's here to stay and a guy who's a superstar, not just a star. He is ready to be a superstar player in this league, and a superstar player added into the fold for a team that has already been a 4th seed in the league this year, has been really, really competitive and really feisty without multiple of their best players for significant chunks of time. That is a scary sight, and I can promise you this: they're probably not going to win a title this year. They're probably not making the finals this year, but I will say this for sure: there is not a team in basketball, and certainly not a team in the Eastern Conference, that is going to see the Orlando Magic on their schedule in the playoffs and go, yes, promise it ain't gonna happen. Every team, whatever team gets matched up with the Bucks in the playoffs in the first round, is going to look at that and go, oh, we got to play these guys. And they might lose. I don't care who it is. And they might lose in the second round too. I would not be shocked to see the Magic make a conference finals run this season. I think they're that good. And I think they're that feisty and that competitive. And I really like this team. And Jamal Mosley, if it wasn't for Kenny Atkinson, Jamal Mosley is the coach of the year, because he has done an amazing job. And this team is really, really dangerous. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.